If you told me 5 years ago that I would be voluntarily cooking bitter melon to eat, I'd laugh in your face. Bitter melon is one of those things that my mom, my Chinese mother, God bless her, tried to make me eat as much as I can from a very young age of maybe 5. I don't have many memories of my time in Beijing before I immigrated to New York at the age of 7.5, but I do remember going over to her friend's house, sitting around the table with maybe 2-3 other kids, and all these parents egging us on to see which child could eat the most bitter melon, because that child would be the best child, the goodest child. And who doesn't want to be the goodest child? But when the qualification is eating as much bitter melon as you can, guys, if you've never had bitter melon, it's truly one of those foods that make you go, why do we eat this? And true to its name, it is bitter. Some more than others. The bitter melon that I can find at my local farmer's market is way nicer, crisper, gentler in its bitterness, and almost sweet in its summer ripe freshness. After my mom passed away, I found myself wanting to revisit bitter melon, and surprisingly, a year ago, I found myself loving it. So now every late summer at the farmer's market, I look forward to the fresh bitter melon that comes through. I wash them, I split them, and I scoop out the seeds if I don't feel like eating it. Sometimes that is where it's most bitter, but these are so tender that they almost taste bearable. Almost. Some people like to throw a little salt on them to draw out the bitterness, so you can try that. But really, with the farmer's market ones that I get, I don't mind eating them raw. A couple of years ago, some viewers told me they like to eat it with eggs, and I found out that I really did like eating them with eggs. Oil, salt, sugar, and that's it. A simple stir fry. I don't remember how my mom used to serve it to me anymore. I think the memories of eating them were so bitter that I just blocked them out. Unfortunately, it's right after someone's gone that you try to remember everything, the sweet moments and the bitter ones. But since I just reach a point of self-torture when I push myself to remember things I no longer have in me, I've noticed that it is just way kinder to myself to make whatever I feel like in the present. So to balance out the bitter, I add a little bit of sweet. I add some fresh carrots. And to add a little bit of texture, I add something even crunchier than the bitter melon. Woody ears. The woody ear is a fungus. It comes dried in Chinese supermarkets. It's really simple to hydrate in a matter of 10 minutes or so. I rinse them thoroughly to get rid of any grit. And if you don't want your pan overflowing like mine will today, you can give them a little rough chop so that their shapes can collapse a little bit better into the space. The first thing I like to cook in the pan, since I only want to use one pan, are my eggs. The eggs also add a little bit of sweetness. I season them very simply with a little bit of black pepper, white pepper, salt. Scramble them with chopsticks like my dad used to do. Oil up the pan generously, and I basically make a little tough omelet. I remember one of my earliest moments of cognitive dissonance and cultural clash was watching how Americans like their eggs soft scrambled, almost silky, custardy, and returning home to eat my parents' cooking, where inevitably the eggs were always scrambled until they were brown. Americans frown on well-done meat and well-done eggs, but as I've gotten older, I've noticed myself getting more Chinese, if that's possible. Or maybe I'm just ready to step out of the American assimilation process. Maybe it's because I miss being a child again. Maybe it's because I miss 1997 more than I look forward to 2027. But I went ahead and hard scrambled my eggs today and found myself loving them. It's tastier. It develops this darker, richer, more caramelized taste that you don't want to associate with eggs maybe, but think about brown butter. Brown butter this and brown butter that, and how about some browned eggs? I don't know, give it a try. I'm stir frying the ingredients in batches mostly because the pan is not big enough. If I had a huge wok, they could go in all at once maybe even, but I've discovered that I really like layering the cooking process and the flavors this way. It gives me a little bit more control over how done every ingredient is, and when it is time to stir fry the bitter melon, I make sure to re-oil the pan because I do want them to fry a little bit. They already taste kind of bitter and ascetic. Not acidic, but ascetic, like a Buddhist monk. Very pared down and almost filled with a light layer of unnecessary suffering, but add a little bit of oil and salt and life is enjoyable again, maybe more than you thought possible. My parents made me woody ear and carrots and bitter melon and scrambled eggs, but I don't know if they've ever put them together like this before, and I don't know if I have ever before, but I did today, and all the colors just work. The textures look exciting. exciting and organic. One thing to note is that whenever you salt vegetables, it draws the water out. So you can go ahead and give that liquid a squeeze before everything goes into the pan so that it doesn't splatter the oil right back up at your face. And I think also squeezing is what will draw some of that bitterness out. You're basically kind of just bleaching the bitter melon flavor at this point. Salting them beforehand will also help you season the bitter melon way deeper into the vegetable than if you were to season it in the pan, since it basically goes into the cell walls of the plant. And of course, like any good Chinese mother, I had to force my child to try to eat some bitter melon. It's for his own good, you know? This is my legacy to carry on after all. Teaching lessons way too early for the child to actually absorb. The way my mom sold bitter melon to me was by saying it could cure everything, basically, even cancer. And you know what? Maybe she's right. It certainly seems on this day, bitter melon is kind of curing me of depression. So who knows? Maybe this is the magic vegetable. Forget an apple a day. Try a bitter melon a day. Once the bitter melon slices are nice and golden, I like to fold everything back into the pan so that they get married together. Warm everything back up and let the textures mingle. Give each ingredient a separate taste test just to make sure they're all cooked exactly to how cooked I want them to be. Add on a little extra salt maybe for crunch and pop. A little bit of breakthrough of exceeding my own expectations. A little breakthrough of what I thought I liked, and maybe even a little breakthrough of who I thought I was. Funny how one ingredient can do that, but it's never just one ingredient, as with anything. There's always time added that needs to take place, and in taking place, space that I move through. In the case of bitter melon, the space is accompanied by grief. The loss of my mother kind of made bitter melon sweeter. I think it magically became a stand-in for her in my life. So if I can't have my mom, then I guess at least I can have a taste of bitter melon that reminds me of her. Something is sometimes better than nothing, and sometimes it just so happens to be actually delicious. They say absence makes the heart grow fonder, right? Once someone is gone, the narrative begins to rewrite itself. And in the space of grief, there is so much questioning that takes place. And after a certain amount of time, it becomes slowly irrelevant whether or not I'm recalling something accurately. Even if I didn't like bitter melon as a child, I guess I like it now. What will I persuade myself to like from now on? Could it be bitter melon? Have I finally become the goodest child? Only when mom's not looking, because that's always our dynamic. That's just what it means to be mom and daughter sometimes. I also like eating bitter melon raw. If you salt it, it becomes seasoned and you can eat it like a pickle. For the novice appetite, you might want to add a little bit of sugar, and if you like it tart, a little bit of vinegar. But most of the time, if you get a good bitter melon to start with, it won't need very much at all. I hope if you spot it around you, you'll give it a try. Pick the ones that are a little bit on the smaller side with smooth bumps. A light, rich green color. Skinnier ones tend to be not as bitter. Every crop is a little bit different, so try them out. And don't try them just once. Maybe give them a few tries. Maybe wait 5 years in between and let enough time pass so that you can try the same thing at a different part in your life and discover that nothing really stays the same. And maybe that's what freedom is. If you want the ASMR version with just cooking sounds and a little bit more memo, it's coming up right after this chase scene.
It's good for you. Come on, eat it! Eat it! Eat it! What do you want? Eat it. Eat it. Hey! Don't walk away from me. It's good for you. It's good for you. Come on. Eat it. Eat it. Eat it.